I had a really good question. What is a brand audit, and do we actually need one? Is it something we can do ourselves? So I just wanted to answer all of those questions in this video today, because I know it'll help you too. So when we think about the word brand audit, and I don't know about you, but when I think about the word brand audit, my first thought goes back to the days in corporate where you imagined all of those accountants were coming past and you had to have all your filing and paper in order, and they were going to do long checklists with over many hours with lots of number crunching. You'll be pleased to hear a brand audit is not like that, but it is still an audit. It's still an assessment where we take a look at your current positioning and how your brand is looking currently, and we look at what are the areas that you can maximize and do more of, the things that you're doing well. But we also look at the areas for development and what are the opportunities that are available to you and your brand right now that will help you get to that next level or that next chapter in your business. So that's the focus around a brand audit. Why do you need one? Well, more than just being a really great baseline, because when you're assessing all of those aspects, it gives you a good snapshot and picture of where you are currently. But there's a deeper reason why you want to do a brand audit, because when your brand is not aligned with your business goals, it's essentially, instead of working, your brand should be working with you to achieve your business goals. And if your brand is working in a very different direction, it's going to be counterintuitive. It's going to not help you reach your business goals, or at worst, even chase customers away. So we want to make sure that your brand is effectively working with you to reach that new market, new sales growth, all the different goals and visions that you have in place. So it's measuring the effectiveness of your brand. In terms of how to go about one, so you're like, is this something that I can do, or something that, is this something that you could personally do yourself, or whether you need me to do it? To rephrase that. Let me start off with a quick story. So if you think about when you first moved into your place and you have a new kitchen, you've got clean countertops, right? But then as you're moving in, you start putting one or two things on the countertop. So you'll have like maybe the toaster, or you'll have a bread bin on the countertops and some flowers. But then over time, things start magnetically finding their way to the countertop. And it could be the bottle that somebody popped on the counter, or someone was using the salt the other day and then they left that on the counter. Instead of packing it away, you realize it was quick to grab. Maybe some soaps were added, or you've got some other bottles and condiments started finding their way onto the countertop. And then somebody put their charger on the countertop, and the next thing you know, it's clutter everywhere. But the thing is, you don't see it because you see your kitchen every day and it is just normal. Your brain sort of shuts out that there's anything wrong with the picture, because this is how things normally are. So same thing happens in your brand. Sometimes it takes somebody coming into your kitchen or your brand and saying, why is that there? Why do you have salt on the countertop? And you'll be like, good question, I don't know, because you didn't see it, because you're so caught up in it. And that's what an audit does. Usually when you get somebody external in, it gives you that fresh perspective, and they see things that you don't necessarily see because you're so in the thick of it, and your brain has been wired to see it as normal. But that's not to say that you can't do assessment yourself. So we have a preliminary, it's a 5-minute brand audit that you can do, a checklist that you can go through, just to get a quick sense in terms of how your brand is currently doing. So feel free to tackle that. But in terms of how we work with clients to get that fresh perspective in, and what our process looks like, we don't just cold audit. We could make it very easy on ourselves and just say, okay, I think this is wrong, this is wrong, and this is wrong. But when you do a cold audit without having context, then you don't really know if the thing that is there for a purpose to achieve your goal, right? So for us, we like to get a sense of what your business is about, what your objectives are, so that we can make sure that when we're assessing your brand, we're not just looking at what we see visually, the pretty, we're also thinking, is this going to help you achieve your business goals? So you'll give that to us up front. We'll get that information from you before we even start any form of auditing. And then we'll go into the audit process. And we'll do a bit of visual assessment, just, from giving our fresh perspective into it. But we also do a little bit of research in terms of what's happening in the market. And then we'll consolidate all of that thinking into a report for you. And instead of just handing the report over to you, you and I need to have a discussion. We need to talk about what's in there, because some of our assumptions and some of your assumptions need to be worked through to see, is this the right thing for the business going forward? Because there have been times when I've challenged my clients on their assumptions, and my clients have changed their business model, or they've said, well, actually, this and this happens in the industry. And then we have a conversation around, is it the best thing for you, and how to move forward. So that is in terms of how we go about a brand audit. But now the next question is, well, what is a brand audit? What do you cover, and what are the different types of a brand audit? And I think the best thing for me to do is to jump behind the screen over here and talk you through my process, because that'll give you good context in terms of the different types of brand audits that we've done, because we've done varying levels of a brand audit. Bit of pre-context: when I look at branding, I believe in building a whole brand experience, not just a logo or a website, but the entire experience. And there are different layers that go into that experience. So this is me showing you those layers. This is the whole brand experience. A brand experience is made up of strategy, your identity, your logo, the different collateral like your decks and docs and business cards, the online brand, so your web and socials, as well as your internal brand, so your culture. Now, sometimes we'll do a brand audit on the whole picture, and it could be a snapshot or a deep dive into that. Variance: we like to sometimes cut off a slice of it for a brand audit. And one of the most common brand audits we do is linked to all the aspects that are covered in brand strategy. So looking at your foundation, users, competitors, attributes, and messaging. And let me show you what we cover. So this is our base brand audit that we usually do with clients, where we assess what are their goals for the brand and the audit. We look at what their vision is, how are they uniquely positioned, what their current clients are like, the offering and products that they offer. That's a bit duplication in my wording, but their competitors and what's the market that they're playing in. The brand elements, so how they're currently showing up, as well as their social presence and what does it look like online. So usually we do a audit across those key 8 areas. But sometimes we might even do a deep dive, if I go back here, and we might just do an audit on their brand foundation, or we'd set up a session to work through their brand foundation, where we'd look at the dream, what they offer, who the ideal clients are, what makes them unique, and then peg out an actual roadmap to help them get to where they want to go. Or sometimes taking a look here again, sometimes we'll do another sliver of an audit. So another one we've done is on social media, and specifically when we look at helping our clients fix up their Facebook. So a Facebook audit would cover how their page is set up and structured, what's the profile look like, their visuals and photos and videos, how they're showing up there, what is the content they're putting out, and how they're connecting and engaging with their ideal clients. So we'll review Facebook specifically and take a look at their page and look at the areas that they can optimize and up-level and really connect with their ideal clients. So I hope that answers some of the types of audits. There's the the 50,000 view of the entire snapshot, or maybe taking one of the chunks like brand strategy and assessing that, which is our standard brand audit, or delving into a sliver like the brand foundation or the Facebook and going into a deep dive on one key area. So that explains the different types of audits. Now, the next question is, as you were saying, is like, should you do one first? Absolutely, you're welcome to. Grab the 5-minute checklist below. It is free. And start off assessing your brand and seeing how it's showing up.